An excellent question came in about how to handle a trade. We're looking at HIMS. You can see the stock broke out. We don't have much price data. This is all the info we have on HIMS. So we're at new all-time highs. Now, before we move on from the chart, a couple quick comments. Notice this gap here. So the price gapped up on 5/13/24, the week of. We're looking at the weekly chart. There is a statistic that the majority, I believe it's above 90% actually, of gaps fill. Look what happened here. It came down and filled the gap and then made its next move up. So we see we do have a gap right here down to 26, 25.34 to be exact. So will it fill that gap? It doesn't need to, statistically likely, but this is on a breakout. So maybe this is time for it just to keep moving up. Now the question was, how do we interpret insider selling? So let me bounce over to Trade Canary now that we've looked at the price info we're dealing with for HIMS. Okay, so here's the page for HIMS HIMS and HERS Health in Trade Canary. Let's go down to the insider positioning component. We're going to switch over to selling. Notice we do not have much buying happening. Now let's look at selling. Okay, so we do have some significant selling. The CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, on 11/13 of 24 sold 4 million worth, 73% of his position. We had another one, 31% of the CEO's position on 11/5. Now you can see where they were selling, 21 and 30. Let's go back to the chart. So they've been selling between, well, basically on the breakout here. So in this range of the breakout, 21 to almost all-time high 30. Now, what does that really tell us? Well, we don't know how long these guys have been holding this position. We also don't know the structure of their employment at HIMS. Maybe they get awarded stock at every X number of quarters. So selling is always a little harder to interpret. But if the CFO is eliminating 73% of his position at $30, that tells me he probably thinks it's a short-term top. He did it recently. So what do we do now? Does that mean we sell our position? Let's go back to Trade Canary for 1 second here. I want to show you something just about fundamentals. I mean, look at that. Think of that price breakout. It really also correlated, though, with a fundamentals, a company breakout. So here's the earnings per share. You can see since 2024, the earnings started moving up. The revenue is nice and consistently moving up. The money they put in the bank after that quarter is dramatically up, $75 million. Their cash position is way up. So the company itself is doing great. And you can see here, it's wonderful. It's a little extended on the price to the company value, but that certainly doesn't mean anything. That can just keep expanding. So do we sell our position because the insiders were selling? I would say no. There's a couple ways to handle this, though. You can just put a trailing stop in so that you make sure you capture your gains. We're at 31.14 right now. You could put your trailing stop in just at 30 and just pull the gains that you made on it and then reevaluate. Maybe you buy back in at this gap fill and a little more compression under the gap fill. Or, and this is something I love to do for a fundamental story that looks wonderful, like we just looked at inside of Trade Canary, everything's going right for this company right now. So you could just sell enough of the shares where you get you pay for a some amount of free shares. So maybe you sell 75% of your position and you hold 25%, move it to another account so you're not even looking at it, if you believe the fundamental story keeps going here. Now, a breakout like this does not just reverse. I understand it's kind of scary when this happens. Oh, I'm gonna take my gains, But this could go way up from here. So that's why I like to play it one of those two ways or a combination of those two. Trailing stop and take some free shares and then just let those ride. The other great thing about taking some free shares and letting them ride is you're not paying full capital gains, especially if this is a short-term trade. You're not paying full capital gains on the entire position. It would just be for whatever percent you're going to hold on to and keep as basically free shares instead of taking capital gains. So that's how I think through it. Fundamentally solid company. Insiders selling. It makes sense why they are, and that does tell you they might think it's a short-term top. Certainly doesn't mean the chart's just going to reverse and go down, though. So that's how we think through it. Keep sending questions like that. Happy to do videos like this. Thanks for listening.